years ago, in 2018, when I was in 8th grade, I found the greatest game ever made. And the best part is, it's completely free.
Coincidence? I think not!
For generations you've slept. No purpose, no call to wake you.
It's that time again, dreamers.
Now, before I get into all of the amazing things like the community, storyline, and game progression, the very first thing I really just want to drill in is the fact that this is a free game that has stayed alive for like 12 years or something, I think, and has been receiving constant updates and is still insanely free to play with an insanely large player base. Like, that is just so mind-blowing and something that we haven't seen almost any other game do. I really just can't wrap my head around it, and I'm so happy that I was able to come back to this game 8 years after touching it and just be flooded with nostalgia and amazing times with all of the new things that they have added. So how about I start telling you guys about some of those things that they have added. When Warframe first came out, they marketed themselves as a space ninja game. However, more recently, and especially when I joined back, I would say it has definitely shifted more into like a sci-fi fantasy. So still ninjas, but maybe just a little bit less space. And personally, I have been loving this change that they have made. I believe their old creative director may have stepped down in 2018 maybe, and now this new one is in, and they're turning it into just so much more than it first was when it came out. I've always loved these sort of games where they're super grindy and they have thousands and thousands of hours of playtime in them where you're going to see something new every time, which is a little bit different from some of the other games that I've grinded, like Sea of Thieves or even EverQuest. Like, I don't know if it's something wrong with me and every other Warframe player out there, but I just love grinding hours and hours to get a certain mod, and then spending another hour or two learning how to optimize it in my build loadout, and just the different layers of complexity to this game make it so much deeper than it first seems on the surface. And on that note, I remember when I first got into Warframe, there wasn't really a tutorial, so it took a lot of YouTube videos and a lot of asking in the Q&A chat, how do I play this game? How do I build my Warframes? How do I build my weapons? What do I do? And now they have a new tutorial quest line called The Teacher, which does an amazing job at explaining all of it, and it makes it a much more just smooth experience for new users. And not only has this new user experience upgraded significantly, the graphics, how the game looks, is just insane. I mean, I know I'm going to say that word a lot, but it is kept up to date for so long and is some of the best graphics that can run on mid to low end PCs that I have ever seen. It's such a well optimized game, truthfully, and I wouldn't let anyone else tell you anything different. Not only is the gameplay and the graphics just amazing, but the soundtrack is wild. I mean, I know there's a joke going online saying that Digital Extremes, the developer of Warframe, is like actually just a full-time music producing company that like moonlights as a game developer. But it's true. I mean, just amazing songs. I mean, listen to this.
It's the song of
sons and daughters, hide the heart of who we are.
And not only that, but in one of their most recent updates, the 1999 update, they had 9-inch nails do their soundtrack. I remember like being in the car when I was way too young to be listening to them, and my dad had them on full blast. And then we were freaking out when we saw they got a spot in the new Tron movie, which we don't really talk about because that might have ruins of Tron Legacy for me. But anyways, crazy good music and sound design. You guys have to experience it if you haven't already. Now, as far as the movement goes, I genuinely do believe that the movement in Warframe is really unmatched. I find myself trying to bullet jump and double jump and wall run in a lot of other games that I play, which is kind of funny. And it just makes for such a smooth experience. It makes it easy to travel really long distances instead of having to walk. However, then when you do get into some missions, like later on in the quest line, like the Old War, there are some times where you're forced to walk. And while the distances are scaled, like you don't have to go as far, but you also can't go as fast, it does feel a little bit sluggish, and it'll make a lot of the other games that you feel pretty sluggish. Like whenever I go from Warframe to Overwatch 2 or back to Sea of Thieves or literally any other game, I feel like I am walking on ice and in like a heavy windstorm. It's really weird, but the movement is just unmatched in this game. And then the combat that is introduced and the different types of play styles are just so awesome because you can kind of do whatever you want. Now, from what I've heard, a lot of the late game is just trying to see bigger numbers on your screen whenever you shoot or use an ability, and kind of considering the fact that I did just reach Steel Path like yesterday, I could definitely see that because after loading up the first mission, I felt so soft and like I was shooting marshmallows at the enemies. So that definitely is a big grind, but if you don't want to do a ton of damage, you could easily play a support character that just buffs or debuffs, or you could play a healing sort of character, or you could play like a summoner, and I find that really cool, especially because when I would go and play older games like EverQuest, one of the very first games I ever touched, my favorite character was a bard, because I just thought it was cool that you could play music and it can buff and debuff. So, of course, now I like to play Octavia every now and then, because while she is just kind of an AFK damage scaling demon, it's still just cool to have these fantasy elements inside of a sci-fi shooter game like this. However, if all you want to do is just clear entire maps with like 4 button presses, you can 100% do that, and it's one of the most satisfying things in game. But don't be one of those DPS demons where their only goal is to be at the top of the leaderboard for damage dealt. No one likes that kind of guy. While the community is probably going to be a shorter section in this video, you really can't estimate, I guess, or underappreciate the community that Warframe has built. Now, sure, I'm going to disregard the region chat and some of the really weird Discord and Reddit pages that you could find for the game, but just talking about like standard community, it really is amazing. This game seems to just focus on brand new players, and they'll come through and help you figure out what you're doing, and they'll help carry you for some places, or they'll just give you like $100 worth of platinum, which is like the in-game paid currency, for free, or they'll give you a mod that you've been grinding for a while for free. It's crazy. Everyone loves new players, and it's a little bit awkward because then there's that point in mid-game where you're not a new player, so people don't really know how to treat you. And sure, there could be some mean people in that stage, but in general, everyone is just so nice. On top of that, it's really pushed for you to get into a clan, which is one thing that I really appreciate from games, which is when they really focus and center on you joining the community and becoming a part and taking part in different community events. I think that's awesome. And that's one thing that I love about games like this. Like there's some things where maybe you just need more players to do it. So it's good to have like a set team that you play with. Or like when it comes to your clan, you could go to your clan's dojo and build things and buy things that you can only access from the clan, which I think is really sweet that they added that feature. And it isn't just a game where, sure, you could go through and play the whole thing by yourself, but it becomes so much more enjoyable when you just join a clan or join a community. And then now you have these regulars that you could just hang out with. You guys can like have fashion frame competitions, which I'll talk about a little bit later, or you could just chill and they'll give you ideas for builds, and it's just so nice. And I really do think that Warframe has one of the best communities in any video game that I've seen. So if you guys are looking for a game where you could just jump in and then just make an infinite amount of friends, join Warframe, because I just can't like get past the fact that everyone here is so nice, except for people in region chat and your, very rare Uriel main who just goes around and nukes everything and then calls you a loser in team chat. The developers behind Warframe are honestly some of the most wholesome and just great people that I think I like. I'm going to say know online, even though I don't know them, but like that I know of online. Not only have they made Warframe, but they also made the Unreal series, which was a big part of my childhood, having grown up playing Quake with my dad. They also made BioShock, which is another really good series. Now, I don't really know quite how to explain it. It could just be like that Canada nice or like Northerner nice kind of vibe that they have. But they're just like unironically really cool and funny people. Like, I'm not trying to glaze them or anything, but if you ever tune into any of their developer streams on YouTube or Twitch, like they're just entertaining streamers who ended up being developers. It's kind of funny. Like they're more entertaining than a lot of the bigger streamers or YouTubers that I watch. They also just care about this game so much, and you could see really each of their unique personalities in quite a few aspects of the game. It's super creative and there's so much customization, which I promise I'm going to be getting to in the next chapter, which is going to be focusing on like the game progression and storyline. But you could just tell that they really do care about the game. They also understand like the whole idea that if you make a game good enough, people are going to want to support you. Like you don't need to make them pay for the game to make money. Even though there was a time very, very early on where you only had so many like revives or deaths allowed per week, and then you could pay money to get more. But that was just when they were really small and honestly just needed some money. So I think we could all kind of put that aside because it's understandable, and now it isn't in the game. One other very important fine line that they understand and walk very, very well is the idea that you can't give players everything. I forget which dev stream this was quoted in, but to paraphrase it, it was basically you can't give players everything that they want because then there is no longer a grind and nothing to work for. Also, like that whole premium currency, I'm not even going to call it like a real premium currency because you could get it for free really easily just by trading in-game, which I might touch on a little bit later. They also give you insane discounts. Like I've seen 200 and 300% discounts show up whenever you have like your daily login, and it's pretty wild because you could get like their $100 or $200 like package for, next to nothing. It's still money going into a video game, so it still is something. And by no means, like when you see that 75%, am I encouraging everyone to go and swipe their credit card right away? You need to be frugal, but it's just really neat. And it's not something that I see a lot of other companies offer their clients. So I do understand that this chapter of the video is going to be pretty similar to the first, but I am going to try my best to keep it separate because I do think that the story and just kind of the layout of game progression that they have is something really unique, and it deserves its own section apart from just the gameplay. The story is really good. There's like over 6 or 8 hours of just cinematic like videos that you get to see while you work through the storyline quests. I guess even just the main quests, that isn't even including all of the side quests and the Warframe ones. And it's a really, really good story. There's a lot of good twists and turns and betrayal, and like the voice acting in it is really good. And I don't know, everything about it is just really, really well made and really professional. And especially when you look back and see how dated the game is, it's crazy to see just how well it has withstood time. And it really is just kind of like a timeless story. It might be ripping off a movie or book that I have no idea about, and I'll take that one on me. That's my fault if I'm just unaware, but I think it was amazing, really captivating, and really deep, not like other video game storylines. And then the game progression too is also really nice. I know in the developer chapter, I talked a little bit about how they don't just give you everything right away, because then the game doesn't feel fun. I always laugh whenever I see those game ads where it's like, if you use this code, you'll get like 7 legendary characters and like 1,000 gems. Like that just kind of takes away the whole point of the game. I mean, in Warframe, you might spend a week or a couple weeks grinding for a Warframe, and then it's going to take 12 hours to build the separate parts, and then to build the actual Warframe, it's going to take 3 days. And while I understand why some people, like for some people that might be a turnoff, for me it just makes it so much more rewarding, and it's what keeps you coming back every day. And there's so many things you could do in between that time of grinding for a Warframe or a new weapon or grinding quests. Like there's so many little daily tasks that you can do to just improve and get better at the game that are going to help you out further down the line. I think it really is just an amazing like linear game. And it's also just cool because it kind of forces you to go back some of these like daily actions that you need to do, to go back and play games or game modes from when you first started the game. So you're queuing up with like master rank 2 or 3 or 4 Warframes when you're like master rank 17. So it's just cool. It's grindy. It's going to take a while, but if you have patience, it's such a rewarding and just fun game to play. I don't know. I know I'm glazing it so much, but I don't know. I feel like this game deserves it. So anyways, I hope you guys like this video. I want to get back into making videos. Those of you who may remember what I did in the past is cool and all, but I guess it just wasn't a good look for a professional career that I'm going into. And I really like this game, so I hope to be able to make that transition smoothly, and I hope that I'm welcome by the Warframe community. So have a nice day, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.